In a dystopian future, AI deploys an invisible army to erase humanity. Meanwhile, scientist Mark Klein unveils their man-made origin, leading to a battle against the unseen. Together, they triumph and restore order, marking a victorious return home. Amidst the chaos of war in Moldova, American soldier Davis finds himself isolated from his team. Equipped with hyperspectral imaging goggles, he ventures alone into a devastated building. Inside the ruined building, Davis discovers frozen bodies and a see-through. He also comes across a ghost-like figure, invisible to the naked eye. Davis swiftly transmits this discovery to his base, but before he can seek information, the apparition swiftly passes through him, killing him instantly. In the next scene, we meet Mark Klein, a researcher from DARPA. He has created advanced combat gear, including the hyperspectral imaging goggles, and is now developing a device that can disintegrate matter using waves. Mark showcases his invention to senior officials, who authorize human testing for military applications. Subsequently, he is called to Moldova to review footage recorded by the goggles he created. Later, Mark arrives at a U.S. military airbase camp in Moldova, where he meets General Orland and CIA officer Fran Madison. They escort him to a secure facility and present the footage captured by Davis before his demise. After watching the footage, General Orland reveals that they've found multiple individuals who have died in the same mysterious way over the past 3 weeks. Autopsy reports reveal victims with frozen internal organs and corroded skin. Fran suggests the possibility of local insurgents using advanced camouflage, but Mark remains doubtful. To get clearer images of the anomalies, Orland allows Mark and Fran to join a Delta Force team in the field. Mark mounts his enhanced hyperspectral camera on a military truck to capture better images of the apparitions. Initially, the soldiers are unhappy about replacing a machine gun with a camera. However, Captain Cabrera scolds his team, reminding them that Mark is the genius behind all their advanced weaponry. Captain Cabrera instructs troops to search a 5-story building for the missing Utah team. He also orders to neutralize any anomalies they encounter. Delta Force departs in trucks for the mission. Upon arrival, Mark, Fran, and Captain Cabrera stay in the truck, monitoring soldiers' helmet cam feeds while the others advance cautiously. Inside, they find the Utah team and insurgents dead. On the 4th floor, Mark detects movement and directs the soldiers. Approaching, they discover Sergeant Comstock alive. Comstock reveals his fellow soldiers are deceased, their bodies on the 5th floor. Investigating, a soldier encounters the apparition. Despite opening fire, the entity remains unharmed, killing the soldier. Captain Cabrera warns the team, but they meet the same fate. Seeing the soldiers perish, Mark urges Fran to order an immediate mission abort. Fran hesitates, insisting they can't return empty-handed. Mark bluntly states they will be returning empty-handed anyway. After more soldiers perish, Cabrera finally orders a retreat and they escape through the window using ropes. Meanwhile, Mark positions his camera, capturing a clear image of the apparition with a human form and face. Cabrera fires a rocket launcher at the apparition, but it proves ineffective. In retaliation, the entity kills the captain. The apparition continues to eliminate soldiers exiting the building. Fortunately, some, including Sergeant Comstock, manage to enter the truck and escape. On their way back, Mark questions Comstock about what he saw. Comstock describes something resembling a frozen blanket that passed through his team members, causing their deaths. Before he can share more details, their truck hits landmines, overturning in the accident. Tragically, Comstock sustains a fatal head injury and passes away. They run to an abandoned warehouse. They realize their enemies aren't insurgents. They can pass through walls and are immune to weapons. Mark uses his larger camera to monitor the streets. They witness several specters haunting the area, confirming the supernatural threat they face. Discovering the apparitions can't pass through iron shavings, the group feels relief. A noise startles them, leading to a search revealing innocent siblings, Sari and Bogdan, hiding. Despite the language barrier, Fran communicates, learning they are alone in the warehouse. Sari reveals that their father scattered the iron shavings to protect them before he was killed. She believes the specters are lost souls trapped between life and death. When Mark asks about their father, Sari leads them to another room where she has hidden his father's lifeless body from her younger brother. Upon inspecting the body, Mark discovers a ceramic locket containing a secret map of Mazarov district near the river. Sari indicates that this is the place where the specters first appeared. Soldiers contact the airbase and plan a meeting point half a mile away. Concerned about cover, they find iron shavings in the warehouse, turning grenades into explosives. Mark converts the camera into a searchlight, enabling the sight of apparitions. He directs the base to make a larger searchlight. During preparations, the apparitions breach the iron shavings barrier. The team evacuates, using Mark's searchlight to fend off the specters. With modified weapons, they slow down the pursuit. After a tough struggle, they reach the rendezvous point safely. The rescue team doesn't arrive, forcing them into an abandoned bus. Mark's searchlight fails, leaving them vulnerable. Soon, rescue tanks with powerful searchlights arrive. Specters are spotted, and the tanks open fire. Soldiers rush to the tanks for safety, but the apparitions are immune to the weaponry. The specters destroy the tanks, leaving the soldiers blind and defenseless. In the chaos, Bogdan runs to retrieve his father's locket, but an apparition kills him. The specters gather, seemingly sealing their fate. Just in time, a rescue helicopter arrives. Mark, noticing the apparitions are repelled by the airflow, smashes the iron shavings on the ground. The wind drives the iron fillings toward the specters, buying enough time for the group to board the helicopter and escape. Safely in the air, they learn the apparitions have overrun their airbase, redirecting them to a civilian bunker controlled by the Moldovan military. Sari receives medical attention for her shoulder injury. Orland and surviving soldiers arrive later, but they lack a clear plan. Major Sessions queries their next steps, leading to heated discussions among the soldiers. Meanwhile, Mark isolates himself, trying to make sense of the situation. Shortly after, Mark interrupts them, asserting that he understands what the specters are. He explains that these apparitions are man-made entities composed of Bose-Einstein condensate, which accounts for their ability to move through walls, freeze people, and their vulnerability to certain materials like iron shavings and ceramics. This explains why the ceramic bathtub protected Comstock. According to Mark, the nuclear power plant is the source of energy for these apparitions, and he believes plasmic discharge can disrupt the condensate, potentially stopping them. Following Mark's revelation, he and the soldiers work together to search for materials to create special weapons. Mark transforms the bunker into an arsenal, crafting a dozen plasmic discharge guns. Utilizing gear from the base, they also enhance a robot with a new searchlight. Empowered with these new weapons, the soldiers resolve to destroy the power plant and eliminate the Spectre threat once and for all. The following morning, they fly to the Mazarov power plant in helicopters. Upon arrival, the first group of soldiers descends and readies for the strike. They activate the robot with the searchlight and set up their newly crafted weapon. When a Spectre approaches, they open fire and successfully defeat it, proving the weapon's effectiveness. The remaining soldiers join them, while some assault the roof. Mark, Fran, and two others enter the building. Inside, they are attacked by an apparition, forcing them to split up. Mark and Fran to explore a laboratory. Inside, they find an iron door leading to the main lab, where they learn that previous scientists were scanning humans at a molecular level and replicating them in condensate form using advanced 3D printing. Further exploration reveals apparitions confined in cells, some damaged, suggesting an accident allowed specters to escape, overwhelming the scientists' attempts to contain them. Shortly after, Mark and Fran decipher the emergency shutdown procedure and begin executing it. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, soldiers find that some specters can reassemble their bodies, leading to casualties. Inside, Fran realizes they need to remove all the ports to cut off the energy supply. A fierce fight ensues above, alerting the locked apparitions, causing them to break free. As Mark carries out the shutdown, Fran shoots the freed apparitions. On the roof, Major Sessions charges a large plasmic discharge gun, firing it but losing control due to its recoil, causing a massive explosion. The explosion shatters the glass cells in the lab, allowing the specters to escape. Just before they can attack, Mark removes all the ports, freezing the specters, which eventually fade away. Following this, Mark and Fran investigate a room and are horrified to find real human brains and nervous systems connected to a central machine, keeping the apparitions alive. Realizing these beings were in pain, Mark unplugs the human remains from the machine, allowing them to finally find peace in death. With the specters gone, the US and Moldovan allies intensify efforts to reclaim the city from insurgents. The Department of Defense extraction team, along with Delta Force operators, returns to the power plant facility to dismantle the machinery. The movie concludes as Mark says goodbye to Sari and Fran before heading back to his home in Virginia.